Experience is always better in a group. The Christian Experience doubly so. We are just a group of gamers that love to talk about life, God, and video games in no particular order. So whether you're a newbie or a grizzled agent like us, we want to help each other roll the level.
Welcome to another episode of Roll the Level. My name is Matt, and we are here today to kick our feet up, relax a little bit, sip some coffee, and talk about video games.
I'm drinking tea.
I am. Oh yeah, you are drinking tea. That's true. But I'm super excited to have my good friends here with me. Some of my best friends, some of my favorite friends, and especially friends who like to talk about video games, which is always exciting. So first, I want to introduce Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I feel like a zombie.
You feel like a zombie. It's because you're not drinking coffee.
No, that's probably correct. Yes.
He is vile.
Well,
I disagree.
You are also correct. It's not even
I'm the
like
minority in this group.
Earl Grey. It's herbal tea, so I got nothing going for me.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry for
It's
your
okay.
loss. All right, fair enough. Dave, how you doing today, buddy?
I am moving forward
Moving
one step at a
forward.
time. I've got my my Bianco with caramel, my coffee flavored sugar milk. So
Yeah, it is. I've done that a long time ago.
so I am I'm like a 12. I take my coffee like a 12-year-old. What can I say? But nothing wrong with being 12 or the coffee. But
good.
yeah, doing okay. Ready to talk about video games today.
Right. Yeah. So we usually, for our new listeners, usually once or twice a season, we just kind of take an episode and catch up on all the latest and greatest gaming stuff that we love and enjoy. Our podcast is about life, God, and video games in no particular order. And every once in a while, it's just kind of nice to kick back and just talk video games. So we have a few things we want to talk about today. I'm going to start with the controversial one, get it out of the way.
Why is it controversial?
Because I think it's terrible.
Oh,
So
boy.
I'm creating
Okay.
controversy.
Oh,
yeah, I guess
no.
so.
Around this announcement from Google that they're doing this Stadia. The
Okay.
Google Stadia, right?
Isn't it like
You did that
Stevia?
right. That's what I know. That's what I
like
thought. First of all, I'm like,
Oh
why
no
are
no
you
no
using
no!
that for
That's
sugar.
that's the artificial sweetener. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
I'm sure I could draw some parallels there, but I won't.
Stadia also is just
Is it the Stadia?
no, it's not. It's Stadia,
It is
but it just
Stadia.
looks like
Okay.
Stadia
All right,
also.
Yeah. So Google, for those that are not in the know, Google announced this last week, just in this last
No,
week?
this week. Yeah, well,
this
yeah.
week, yeah.
Well, when you're listening to this
Yeah, that's
last
true.
week.
Just announced their new gaming console, which is basically a glorified Raspberry Pi. But anyway, for those in the programming world. But basically, it is a streaming device. It's like a roided up Chromecast, if you will.
You can use your Chromecast 4K.
You can use your Chromecast 4K on it, or a Chromecast 4K on it. But basically, this thing's going to stream all the latest and greatest from all of the libraries, is my understanding. Like
They're
say any
trying. No,
limitations.
yeah. Their big games were Assassin's Creed, Odyssey, and Doom Eternal. But they're like, yeah, we're just working and we're making our own. We got first party games coming too.
Yeah, I'll be
Hold your
curious to
horses.
see if those are like first party like console or first party mobile or what that means.
Yeah. Well, they have some good people out there though. So
That's fair.
they got
I mean,
EA and Ubisoft execs. So
yeah, and I mean I'm
approached.
gonna let you guys share. I just want to get this off my chest before I.
you go right ahead.
But,
Ready for the soapbox.
I guess I appreciate that Google is willing to innovate. My concern is, the question I keep coming back to is are the internet service providers at a place where they can handle that type of streaming? I mean, arguably we do see it some with, and I mentioned this in the last news video we did. We see this some with the PS4 and PlayStation Now. I've never used PlayStation Now. Like, have you ever used it?
I have once or twice, but it's before they've done the updates. It was like at the very beginning.
Okay, so it's terrible.
So it was like, yeah, they didn't have the option to download it to the
Okay.
system or anything. So it was just sometimes choppy. It was not a super bad experience,
Okay, all right.
but it wasn't full of games I wanted to play either. So
Okay, all right. Dane, what about you? Did you ever use PlayStation Now? Were you a Now user?
I was not a Now user, so
Okay.
I really don't have any experience with that. But I do have experience with NVIDIA's GeForce Experience.
That's right.
Which
I forgot about that.
Which was and still is a thing, but I think it's still in beta, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've done anything with this, but
Yeah.
but basically the concept of it was that you streamed games from a server that you logged into remotely, and you leveraged the power of that machine to play the games on your system. So essentially, like I could on either my Mac or my PC pull up my Steam library from this service, pull up a game, play it, and leveraging their hardware to stream to my system. Matt, you and I actually did that with Ark, I believe, one night. Which Ark, if you've never played anything by this company, I can't even remember the name of the company. I've tried to block it out of my head. They're the same ones that did Atlas recently.
Yeah.
And which is basically just Ark reskinned with pirates. But
That's so true.
But and
They swapped the dinos for pirates.
they swapped the dinos for pirates.
That's funny.
Which, I mean, that works for any 8-year-old.
I want
but,
Dino Pirates.
but
It's true,
anyway,
it's true.
So it was a decent experience.
Yeah.
But I mean, every once in a while there'd be some latency with it, which goes back to your question of, can internet service providers deal with this?
Yeah.
The other thing too is, like, sometimes the graphics did kind of fluctuate depending on, like, how much buffering there was and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it is interesting conceptually, but arguably Google is not the only one that's doing this or that's considering this. Microsoft had teased, I believe, back at E3, the codename Scarlet, I believe is what it was. Which was going to be a streaming only console, or a streaming only version of the Xbox One.
That's sad.
I'm probably getting all of the details wrong here, but anyway, so it's not completely left field.
Although I think with the Xbox, it's the SAD version.
Yeah,
right?
that became the sad version.
Yeah, so they actually went diskless and just dropped a big old hard drive in it.
But what other ones that have done this before, like the Steam TV?
Oh yeah.
I have one of
used it,
those.
actually.
I have one of those kicking around somewhere. But yeah, it's like it uses the power of your PC over the internet.
Find that and just
Yeah.
power it up for fun. But anyway.
And it's also remote play for PS4.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, which remote play actually wasn't bad.
If you're on a decent Wi-Fi network.
Well, and that's what it comes down to. Like, I used to play D3 on my Vita.
you can play on iOS now,
That's true. Yeah.
but it doesn't work for me. So
Yeah, that's fair. So I guess like conceptually it's a cool idea, and I could see it, like, if it's a smaller, more compact system, I could see it when I'm traveling, right? Like I gotta stay at a hotel.
Yeah.
But it comes back again to that same issue. If I'm at a hotel, the internet's
you
terrible.
have to make sure that
yeah.
the hotel's internet is good and your home internet is good.
Right? And so it's like the only time I could think I would use it, I'll end up taking my Switch because it works. Right? I don't need the internet.
Yeah,
to
it's
play my
true.
Switch.
It's all built in.
So I don't know, guys. I just I'm kind of with it. I'm not a big fan.
My worry is more of game preservation, honestly.
Okay.
Like, I still like going to the store and buying my physical games. Like, I like owning it. Like, I'm scared of the digital future because I have so many PSN games, and it's like one day I'm just not going to own those licenses anymore. They will be gone.
Right.
And I have so many physical Super Nintendo games and GameCube games. It's like, man, like, if I own them digitally, they'd be probably gone by the Wii Shop channel. I cannot get some of the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles games anymore. They don't exist. I have no way of getting them, and that makes me so sad. And that's not that old.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Sarah. I had the similar experience with some of the what did they call it? The arcade on the Wii.
Yeah.
I had
The
some
Wii
of those.
Shop channel,
Yeah,
whatever.
I had some of those. I had some of those the Virtual Console. I had some
Yeah.
of those Virtual Console games, like Super Metroid. Big one. One of those games I
Yep.
go back and play every couple of years.
Yeah.
I had a couple of those games on that, and I never was able to get any type of crossover with the Switch, because I don't think that exists. But
No, not yet, at least.
But anyway, yeah. So all that, all the WiiWare, all of the Virtual Console stuff, all gone.
Yeah.
And then you also have to take a look at it from the standpoint of, like, yeah, you could keep your console around and keep those digital titles, but at some point in time, either your console is going to degrade to the point of not being usable, or the services which are necessary to validate your license for those games are going to be shut down. So at some point in time, there's going to be something. They've got to do something. They've got to do something with the way that digital licensing is done, in order to make sure that there's an entitlement that stays with the end user. But we'll see.
It happened to me the other day though. Like there's a game called Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, which I'm sure you've never heard of. But
I don't know how you keep track of all the names.
But it was a game. It's for Vita and PS4, and I have it digitally for Vita. But out of the blue, they're like, it's not in the PSN store anymore. It's like, what?
Oh, awkward.
It's like you cannot buy it anymore, and that's the only way to have it on Vita. There was no physical version.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, well then, okay. I have to sift through the horrible list of PS Vita games. If you've ever used the store on that, it is. I had to search through thousands of things because I have so much PSN Plus games and DLC, and it was awful to go and find that game through my list again. But that's one
of the reasons I got rid of my Vita. Actually, was the store
if
was
they could
so
fix that,
atrocious to use.
Ridiculous.
I just couldn't do it.
But that just
back to
crazy.
Back to the. And we'll kind of finish up with this this topic, but back to the whole Stadia kind of thing. I think there are a few questions that need to be answered before at least I can buy into this. One is that issue of licensing, right? Like if I'm streaming these games, am I paying for this streaming service? Like,
it must be a subscription. I would have to think.
It's the only way. It's got to be like an Xbox
Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass. Like it's the only way I can see that working properly.
Game Pass is
right?
great.
Where you don't necessarily own the games, but you can access them like you would a library.
Yeah.
Because and that's a concern too, right?
I hope it's not like a cycle service though, too.
Right.
Like, hey,
well,
you play it for this long.
You know, are we transitioning? I don't think we are, but are we transitioning out of that time where you can buy games?
It feels that way.
Are we? Me too. I don't want that. I'm wondering like if we're starting to see these streaming services pop up, and again, logically, it's the only way I can think of that working. I could be wrong,
but I do it for music, and I do it for TV. So this is the next logical thing.
You can still go out and buy those things.
You can. That's true. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, is that where we're going to be with games? I don't know. I have a lot of questions. I'm not uber excited about the implications of this system, but that's just me. I'm old. Maybe I'm just scared of the technology. I don't know.
I reserve my opinion, my final opinion, until I see it in action, and
same.
And I'm able to have a better understanding of how the service is going to work and what the I want to say the limitations of it, but I'm not even concerned about how far the console can go from a graphic standpoint or whatever.
If the Switch has shown us anything, it's that you can pretty much make anything work
in 720p.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to cut you.
No, you're good. That's the end of my statement on that.
You're good. Awesome. All right. So next up, let's talk a little bit about Season of the Drifter.
Yes,
because
please.
That has been a thing. That has been a thing that apparently revitalizes the Destiny 2.
Was it dead?
Game. No, just the progression system was a little stagnant.
Yeah.
I feel personally, and there was some weird hurdles.
It goes through cycles. I find that game.
Yeah, but apparently Drifter. Now, in all fairness, going into this, I have not played enough of this season to know. Division 2 dropped, so I kind of
Goodbye, world.
Sorry, but Dame, you have played the crap out of this season.
I've been playing a copious amount of the Season of the Drifter. So, nice. So if for the uninitiated, the Drifter is kind of a mysterious character that appeared in Destiny 2 Forsaken with a brand new competitive game type that's kind of a player versus environment mode called Gambit, in which two teams will enter an arena. They'll fight against enemy mobs, collect motes, deposit those motes. Those motes in 5, 10, and 15 chunks will send blockers to the other side of the map to keep them from the enemy team from depositing motes. If you die, you lose all your motes. You can send one invader over at a time to the other team to kind of harass things. The first team to collect enough motes or to deposit enough motes will summon a primeval, and the first team to defeat their primeval wins. With Season of the Drifter, and there have been some things that have been kind of leading up to getting to know a little bit who the Drifter actually is and his place in the Destiny universe. And there are all sorts of amazing lore points that are surrounding this guy that have been coming out, which have just been phenomenal. I don't want to spoil anything if you're interested, but a couple of the great things, and this is something that the last vid doc from Bungie really highlighted this. This is the beginning of a solely Destiny, or I'm sorry, a solely Bungie-led Destiny. This is the first time that this is happening. It gets to be their vision now. It gets to be their way of doing the game. And one of the things that I really appreciated on the front end of this is that the Drifter actually had a series of quests that would give you, that would increase your power level to a point where it wasn't quite like top tier from the previous content, but it sets you up to be able to engage in all of that content that you may not have been able to before, and then start collecting gear to build into the events of Season of the Drifter. Now, with Season of the Drifter, not only is there that, there's a new Gambit mode, Gambit Prime, which instead of being like a best 2 out of 3 with Gambit, it is a like one and done. It is intense. It is absolutely intense because in summoning the Primeval, there are phases. It's like a raid boss, really. It's where you have to do some things in order to be able to do damage to the Primeval. And in the midst,
is it like elemental based stuff for doing damage to the Primeval?
So the when the Primeval is summoned, it'll summon 3 envoys or envoys, and you have to kill the envoys before you can do any damage to the Primeval. But it goes in cycles, and every set of envoys that you kill, you have a damage multiplier. So it's not just like, so you're not just going to get stuck in this loop of like, oh, hey, somebody came over, an invader came over, they killed us, death heals Primevals. And then you're stuck in this, eternal loop.
And this loop.
There comes a point with the damage multiplier where it's like, okay, first to burn and we're good. But along with that too, so not only is there Gambit Prime, there's also a game mode called Reckoning, which this gets a little bit deeper into some of the lore, because the Reckoning deals with a mysterious group of entities known as the Nine. And so there's interaction with the Nine through the Reckoning. The Reckoning is kind of like what was the game mode in ODST where
Horde mode or
firefight, yeah. So it's kind of like a firefight where you just kill wave after wave after wave of stuff.
That'd be all right.
And there is an end point to that, but you can wager items that you get from playing Gambit Prime in Reckoning, and if you win that round in Reckoning, you get a piece of gear out of that, which dependent on the item that you use will give you a piece of gear that will enhance your abilities in Gambit Prime. So they have 4 soft rolls within Gambit Prime to be able to have a better time with collecting motes and depositing motes, killing mobs, killing blockers, and invading. So they have these 4 different armor sets that give you different bonuses as you do that. And there are 3 tiers of Reckoning as well. So there's this kind of escalation where like it's not just all that like Fire Strike sort of deal. It's that, and then it's like this defend a point and hold a point and then move on to the next point and then kill a boss. And it's been so good from a gameplay standpoint. But then there's also story stuff. One of the things that I think that players have in the Destiny community have really been asking for, and I know for me, like this was a kind of an agonizing moment for me, but I liked this. There are actually choices now that you're going to start making, which will impact how characters react to you. With the Season of the Drifter, there's a quest line for season pass holders called the Allegiance Quest. And the Allegiance Quest gives you the opportunity to either side with the Drifter or side with the Vanguard in investigating the Drifter. And so you have to make a choice, and that choice will determine something in the future of Destiny.
So choose your own adventure.
It is, yes. So they're starting some of this choose your own adventure, which may lead to some interesting things.
Are you stuck with your decision?
You are.
Like, okay.
Oh, there you go.
That's weird for like a game as a service, like not being able to go back and do the other side.
Yeah,
I kind of feel.
That's fair.
Yep.
You can make multiple characters though, I guess.
I feel like there were moments in some of the MMOs I've played where that was the case, where you make decisions and then you have to like level a whole new character.
Yeah.
To make another decision.
Like Horde and Alliance are pretty much like the only thing I could guess.
Where they have like that
Well,
permanence to it?
like two sides of a story.
Well, but then you have you get into Burning Crusade, you have the Aldor and the Scryer. You've got which is
True,
I guess arguably it's just reputation. It's not permanent, but
yeah.
But yeah,
But still, there were long-term impacts to those decisions.
Yep.
It is nice to see that in Destiny, just because Destiny kind of represents a whole new way of doing an MMO light kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I think they almost coined the term. I don't know that they did, but that game, like the original Destiny, almost coined the term MMO
Well,
light.
yeah, that's what I wanted.
Right, because it offered some of those longevity things of an MMO, but without necessarily quite the depth or commitment level that a typical MMO had. So it's nice to see them experimenting and trying these things out.
For sure.
Now again, I have not played this season. I probably should play it at some point.
Yeah, you should.
Give me time to get through Division, because I want to talk about that.
There's lots of time.
Because that's been great. But I should go back and actually play that. I got so disheartened on the last on the last XPAC with the Forge stuff. Like it was so frustrating that I hit a wall and there was no way around it outside of like copious hours of grinding.
yeah.
And if I'm gonna grind a game, it's gonna be an ARPG. So,
Constant pressing A.
like that is, it's funny. It's like the only grinding
mouse clicking.
game experience I enjoy. So that's awesome. It sounds like they're really trying to punch out some new things, new ideas, and flesh out some stuff, which is great because Bungie's good at being creative and stuff like that. I mean,
they can do what they want.
Yeah, it's it, right? And some of the best stuff in some of the original Halo games were because they were just trying new things. And I appreciate that. So
they're definitely paving the way.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be good to see kind of where that goes in the long run.
Indeed.
But here's hoping. So Sarah, there are some games coming out next week that you are uber excited about. We'll shift gears a little bit. What's your top anticipated game?
Well, it's pretty much reliant on the rest of the year. So
Okay. No pressure.
I don't know. There's two games that I'm super excited for. They are Nelky and the Legendary Alchemist.
Okay.
And Trails of Cold Steel Decisive Edition.
Okay.
Nelky and the Legendary Alchemist because I love the Atelier series. It's just it's just a slice of life, going out, picking out ingredients, learning alchemy, and they're just cute little stories.
So is this like a cooking game for alchemists?
Yes, but there's RPG elements. You go out.
I don't mean that in a
No,
rude
you're
way.
good.
Like, I'm just trying to get my head around it.
It's pretty much like the recipe system
Okay.
is for alchemy, but
Okay.
there is going out and battling monsters and doing quests and stuff. You have to like
get ingredients.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So this one's a combination of all of them put together. Like it's like a side story kind of thing, but like all the protagonists are coming.
All right. So it's like if the Terminator was doing a cooking show, it would be this game.
Sure.
Right? Right? So like goes
I'll
out,
say yes.
farms all the bodies, and then basically makes stuff out of it.
It sounds in an
You're
interesting sort of way like My Time in Portia.
I am so excited for it to come to consoles. I'm gonna totally get that next month too.
Yeah.
I heard it's a long grind. Like I heard it's too long for its own good, but I'm still excited for it. Like Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, Little Dragon's Cafe. I love all those kind of games.
I love that you love those types of games.
But on the other half, there's Trails of Cold Steel,
Okay.
which is another RPG, but it's like another high school RPG where we're just trying to save the world, one step at a time.
As only high
Most
school
high
students
schoolers.
can.
Absolutely.
It's a franchise that we have to beg to get it out of Japan to get localized.
Okay.
So finally this year, it's been out in Japan for a couple years, but the last game in this saga has been announced to come out in North America.
Oh.
And it's coming out the end of the year.
Nice.
So they're porting the first 2 games in the series to PS4.
Okay.
So one comes out next week and the other one comes out in a couple months. So you
Yeah.
can get ready for the release of the third one that comes out in the fall.
Oh, I appreciate that they're doing that, though.
That's pretty, like, they're on Vita and PS3 before, so they're
Yeah.
not as easily accessible to people these days. So
Okay, gotcha.
I'm super excited to play the Decisive Edition, even though I don't think it's that decisive at all. But it's probably just the exact same as my Vita version that I already own.
You know,
but it does not matter.
Sarah, I was going to ask you, like, what exactly does a Decisive Edition mean?
I literally think there's nothing.
Okay.
Like, I think it's just maybe slightly better visuals is all that makes it decisive.
it's-
There was
and
no
it's in
DLC. There was nothing.
Okay.
As far as I know, don't quote me. Tell me if I'm wrong.
So there's
But
so there's nothing that helps me make decisions better or be more
nope,
decisive.
not at all. No.
Well, that's
You would think so. Like Definitive probably would have been the better word, but they used Decisive, and I don't know why. But I'm super excited to get back into that and probably go 100% it because I'm crazy like that. But I those games take like at least 80 hours, so
Okay.
I have to
Man.
beat this before I get to the next one in a couple months, and
Yeah.
then wait for the third one.
Kudos to you for investing that much time in any game that's not an MMO.
Oh yeah, well that's what I
man,
do.
I have a lot of respect. Like even games like Skyrim or even like Fallout or any of those games, people that invest that much time
Are crazy?
I would love. No, I don't. I think it's awesome. Like you really get immersed in the world.
I try. I take notes.
Okay, that's a whole other.
That's
level
pretty
of
impressive.
I'm just gonna leave that. But no, I like in all seriousness, I think it's so awesome that you can get that immersed in the space and enjoy it that much.
I think it's necessary though.
Yeah?
Like for games like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, like when the next one comes out and they have like fan service, I want to know what the fan service is. Like I want to know, hey, that
Okay.
happened in Dragon Quest 5, or hey, that's a callback. Hey, all the Sids in Final Fantasy, I know where they all came from.
Yep.
Like I like knowing all those things, and so
Yeah.
that's why I keep notes, or else I wouldn't.
I think I'm always fascinated by that when people get that, like just know that much about the world they're in and stuff like that. If I don't hear it while I'm playing it, I have no
Oh yeah,
idea,
you're an
right?
audio diary
Like, I'm
fan.
so- and that's the thing. I'm like on such the opposite end of that scale when I hear you guys talk. Because Dame, I know you love RPGs
Yeah,
as
I
well
do.
and the big deep story, and I love hearing about that and how excited you guys get because I'm going, man, I wish I could focus that long.
Oh, because I don't get me wrong. Sometimes I do wish for like the 8-hour story experience, like.
That's fair.
But those kind of games I just don't like. They're in the Uncharted's and The Last of Us and stuff like that. I do not like those games.
Yeah,
like I
that's
cannot get
fair.
into them.
That's
None of them
fair.
can be an RPG. They're a lot long. It's crazy.
No, that's fair. I was even trying to think of like the last game that I played all the way through and invested any energy and time into.
The Division 2 will probably
Yeah,
get you
it'll be
through.
one of those for me. But again, I'll be honest, I'm not really paying attention to story yet. It's one of those games that it's just got the right combat systems for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
got the right pacing. It's very easy for me to go and do things. Like I don't have to work hard to go
Right.
and do something and be engaged.
That makes sense.
There's no
yeah.
downtime.
No.
Right? Like there's no downtime in that game. It's I can constantly be working on projects in the game, which is what I love. One thing that they brought into Division 2, sorry, I know I'm transitioning it again.
You're
but,
good.
Go for it.
one of the things they brought into Division 2 were these settlements. So basically in certain zones there are these settlements that you have to build up.
Okay.
And it all contributes towards your main settlement, which in this case is actually the White House because
Oh.
you're in Washington,
Oh.
D.C. But there are these settlements throughout the city that you basically invest in and help build up as like beacons of hope for people, and it becomes these communities. And I love it because the projects are so easy to work on, and certain missions give you credit and things towards those projects. But then on top of that, just by like collecting gear, and you can break down your gear in this, which I love.
Okay, that's good.
You could break it down in the first one, but you had to use it like just for parts for mods and stuff.
Oh.
But in this, which is great, which I really like, is you can take those components and then actually invest them into the projects as well.
Okay.
So there's multiple ways to build up these projects and things like that. So, but again, I don't have to work for it. I just
Yeah,
play
you
the
kinda
game.
go.
When I'm done, I have all this stuff to give to all the it's like, oh, okay, that's fun. But no, I think it's great. I think it's great because I'm on the opposite end. I love that co-op, just go shoot stuff, hack and slash.
Yes.
Like we just created a clan last night in the Division 2 called Shoot Die Repeat. Because that's basically the game style
Yep.
that I like. It's just go in, shoot things, maybe die, and then just repeat the
And
process.
get loot.
Right? And get all the loot. And Division 2 has been just an incredible co-op experience, actually. Last night was the first time I was able to get like 3 other guys that I know well. Tyler, actually, your husband, being one of them, and then a couple other buddies of mine, and we just steamrolled a bunch of content. And I say steamrolled, actually, was really difficult content.
Yeah.
The scaling in this game is just so great.
Yeah.
It'd be like I had done all the missions we had done last night because I'm a little bit further along in the game. But what was great is that it was a totally different experience with 4 players.
Awesome.
Because it scaled up well.
Nice.
To the point that when one of our guys glitched and got stuck in an elevator, I was telling Sarah this story before. We were playing a mission, and you basically work your way up through a building, so you get these elevator checkpoints, and then it takes you up to the next part. For whatever reason, when we loaded, our party leader got glitched in the elevator, and they couldn't get out of the elevator. The doors closed. And they were just like hanging out in the elevator. So it was kind of a double-edged sword. Like on the one side, it was awesome because if we died, he was technically still alive. So we just respawned at that checkpoint and kept going. The downside to that, though, is that the content was scaled for 4 people, and we only had 3. So like we ended up having to use like everybody just loaded up like drones and turrets.
Wow.
So we essentially, had 6 times the firepower or something. I can't math, so someone smarter than me can math that. But we had a lot of firepower. It's great. But yeah, so that's been a really fun experience with co-op. I don't know, like have you guys had any recent experiences co-op that have been really good? I'm all over the place.
I just watched co-op.
You just watch co-op?
Like Tyler plays so much Apex that I know too much about Apex and the good and bad and ugly of co-op.
I was gonna say I love that you've never played a round of it.
No, never. I know everything about that game, but I've never played it.
You know more than I do, and I've played.
Ask me anything about the new season the battle pass, about the new character Octane. I know too much.
That's right. What have we been doing? We've been doing Dying Light co-op though.
That is true. We have been. We actually. That's like the last game I've beaten. I've beaten 2 games this year. It's a very sad state of affairs.
No, that's good.
No, this is good. This is good. You can.
No, it's terrible.
You can check them off of your list now.
Absolutely.
Yes, my list just grows. I get beat 2 games this year, but I get 2 games next week.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Doesn't work out in the wash.
So
what about you, Dame? What co-op experiences, buddy?
Well, I was gonna ask Sarah if she beat Chrono Trigger yet, but
no. Okay, my goal was to beat it before I got 30. Yeah. I already reached that point, so who knows now?
Oh,
it's gonna be on the Switch before I ever touch it.
You need to spend some time in that game.
If they're gonna put Final Fantasy VII on Switch next week, they can put Chrono Trigger on there eventually too.
That's fair.
I did see that they were putting Final Fantasy VII on the Switch, and I want.
Are you gonna pick
next
it up, buddy?
week?
I don't know. There's part of me that thinks that yes, I want to, but at the same point in time, like I'm gonna go back to Destiny here for a second. One of the things that I've really appreciated about Destiny that Bungie has done is that they will do these kind of triumph reward things where like if you achieve a certain thing within a period of time, there are exclusive items in their like physical item shop, like t-shirts and replicas and stuff like that that you have access to be able to buy. And and they did jerseys for the different roles.
Cool.
And so I want to get my Reaper jersey because I've been going hard Reaper in the role for Gambit Prime. And so I want a Reaper jersey. So I don't want any other distractions. I want my Reaper jersey. Dang it.
That's fair. Although, I mean, arguably, you go through Final Fantasy VII pretty regular, like every couple of years or something.
But this has the cheat codes in it too. This version.
Oh, does it?
It has like the 4-time battle speed.
Oh.
And the invincibility god mode.
Oh, so you can just like basically play the story then?
Yeah.
If you want to. Oh man.
I don't turn god mode on, but I turn like the 4-time speed. So I just like when the battles come up and I know I can stomp the monster, I just do that and then game.
I might actually be. I know this is terrible to say, but I might actually be interested in playing that if it has an invincibility mode. I know that's like super hacks.
I don't think it works on the final like on Sephiroth, but that's it.
Okay, because I am terrible at those games, like just leveling characters properly and paying enough attention to know what I should be doing when. I'm actually playing a Final Fantasy game on my phone consistently, and even that, I have no sweet clue
what are you playing on your phone?
I don't know. It's Final Fantasy.
Is it Record Keeper? Because that's cheating.
No.
Okay.
No, it's like a legit game. but with stuff you actually have to do.
Okay.
But I would be interested though in here. I'm gonna actually turn it on. Just so or I'm gonna crash.
Your phone's been whacked lately.
I'm playing in or sorry, not playing. My phone's in like beta mode right now. I'm testing out the new. Oh yeah, it's crashing. Testing out the new Android OS, so it's probably breaking things. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'd be kind of interested in that to see where that goes. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a good story. Like it's got some great twists and turns. So
that's good. Anyway, guys, we are. This is the problem when you start talking about video games.
We just keep going on forever.
Guys, I think it's just fun to hang out and talk about video games. So thank you so much, both of you, for joining me
always.
today.
No problemo.
For you, our listeners, thank you so much for just listening in every week, and we love to hear feedback from you guys. So leave us a comment. We do our very best to get back to those as quickly as we can. So definitely drop us a line either on Podbean or wherever you get your podcast from. You can email us at rolllevel@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitch or Mixer or any of those places. We broadcast to all of them when we do stream.
Yeah.
So
even Twitter now.
Yeah, even Twitter has it, so you can watch it right on Twitter if you want. But anyway, we love to hear from you guys. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
A little ADD, so take it for what it's worth. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, we'll talk to you later on Level Up.